How come it looks like we have less chairs? We're less crowded. Oh, the board members are up here at the same time? Okay. I'm hanging in there. Let me tell you, it's been a rough week or two or 3 or 4. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because there are a lot of people who think it's over. Pardon? Well, it won't be the same country that we knew, that's for sure. Anybody who thinks who thinks otherwise is sure. You like your guns, you better hide them.
No, usually they'll send it to you and then you just provide it to. Okay.
I don't know. That's a big deal. How are you this evening? I'm good. You all ready for your big fundraiser? It's gonna be wild, huh? Oh, were you down?
It was a lady, my wife saw her, and she says, "Oh, this is brand new. I didn't realize this." She said, "We don't need to do that," and then she left.
Okay. And then apparently they sent me the money back.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's a 23-year-old lot that was never built on.
But they would have reviewed it probably when you went for the original permit. I don't know, she came out and obviously.
And I'll put that in my email to Mark.
Okay.
Mark is likely to be waiting for that letter before we issue them.
Right.
So I'll make mention of it to Martin.
What are you talking about, James? the zoning permit for a building tonight?
One of the accessory structures that.
They need deed restrictions. You can't issue the zoning permit till the deed restrictions are in, can you?
Correct, we're talking about the preliminary site.
Okay. What's this? So were there a lot of people at the event? Really? It used to be a very popular event, but it used to be a lunch too. They switched
No,
it.
it was, and maybe people were just like their 6
Well,
They're off. And maybe even Rotunda.
right. Yeah.
But I met some young
No. You know, they don't get together anymore for Christmas parties and stuff. It's a different world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Waukesha Plan Commission meeting on October 13th, 2016, beginning at 6:30 PM. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Chairman Merrick,
Present.
Supervisor Fisher,
Here.
Commissioner White,
Here.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Here.
Commissioner Stigler,
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
And Commissioner Miller is
Miller.
absent. And have we met the open meeting law?
Yes, we have.
And citizens' comments? Seeing none, we can move on to approval of the minutes of September 8th. Is there a motion? And a second?
Comment or question? On page 7, the top of page 7, I believe it's item number 11. And the same comment would apply to page 8 of 12 near the bottom, item 10. I don't think that accurately reflects the amendment that I proposed. I believe more accurately, it would read as a condition of approval. The petitioner shall provide to the town, as a condition of approval, the petitioner shall provide and strike the to the town of Waukesha building inspector prior to issuance of permit. It should simply say provide written documentation from Waukesha County Department of Parks and Land Use, Environmental Health Division approving the location of the accessory building with respect to the existing septic system and well. I think that accurately reflects the amendment, even if you go back and look at the audio recording of the meeting. My amendment concern was not to leave that to the time of issuance of the building permit, but a condition of the recommendation of the Plan Commission. So I would ask that, unless there's objection, that request be granted to correct that.
What number are you looking at?
Go to the top of page 7, okay?
Okay, page 7.
And-
11.
I believe accurately it should say as a condition of approval.
Okay.
It should say as a condition of approval, the petitioner shall provide and strike the words to the town of Waukesha building inspector prior to issuance of building permit. Should read shall provide written documentation from Waukesha County Department of Parks and Land Use, Environmental Health Division, location. Well, and the same would apply to item 10 near the bottom of page 8.
That was page 8. Oh, up here, okay.
The distinction is the minutes and so forth said that that would be deferred until the issuance of a building permit. It would be required in order to issue the building permit, and the amendment and what we had historically done is basically have evidence of that at the time that it is recommended for approval by the Plan Commission and approved by the town board, to have that in hand.
Was it in here?
No, it was not. So that's why the amendment to the motion that would be a condition of the approval.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not following it, but I don't. I mean, if you're saying before you make your recommendation, it wasn't here. And then- So the motion, is it defeated? Because
No,
it's satisfied?
No, the amendment was as a condition of approval. The petitioner shall provide that as a condition of approval, rather than not approving it that evening, or those two, that it was a condition of approval.
Yeah, the only part from a legal standpoint that I'm concerned about, and I'm trying to locate it on page 7 myself.
Right at the very top.
The, when you say, when you take out the part of who you give it to, it always causes a problem for me from a legal standpoint.
Well, it should
I
be
know
given,
you're
it
not
should be
gonna-
given to the, it should be given to the planner before the meeting. And that's the way it should be brought forth. And that's the way we've historically done it for many years. And I think it makes a lot of sense.
But it was approved.
Mr. Chairman?
Are you
Yes.
correct?
I guess I just want to state that it's been policy since I've been on board that if we don't have it at the time of meeting, we require it prior to the building permit being issued. So there are times that accessory buildings are approved, whether it was Board of Appeals or Plan Commission or Board, when that information isn't present, but Martin does not issue his building permit until he has a letter from the county. So has been that we require prior to the issuance of a building permit, or else they don't get the building permit. Kathy, is that,
That's
am I
correct.
correct in saying?
The only thing I would tell you is go back and listen to the audio of the meeting. There's no video, but the motion was that approval was contingent upon it. Didn't have anything to do with the involvement of the building inspector, whatever. I mean, I think we're going to look at that issue maybe again tonight going forward. Maybe that's a different issue if you want to change the policy. But the amendment on that clearly was that was a condition of approval.
And the condition, just so we're all clear, Brian, the condition that you mentioned is that he receives a sanitary permit from the county prior to what?
You're talking about with regard to those issues or going forward? Are you talking about retrospectively or
Let's talk
prospectively?
about this, let's talk about this
All right.
issue right now.
The motion on that was simply, striking the business about leaving it to the building inspector, but basically a condition of that approval is that he had to provide that verification or representation from the county
To whom?
to the town of Waukesha.
Okay.
It should have been here, in my judgment, or going forward, and I mean, that's a retrospective thing, but going forward, it should be provided before we consider it the meeting, in my opinion.
Okay.
Okay? And that's what the spirit and intent of that was. If you go back and read it, it didn't say anything about, you presented to the building inspector, and that's why I made the amendment.
Fair enough. Would you like to table this until those are corrected till the next plan commission meeting?
No,
Okay.
As amended.
All right, so we've got a first and a second. But we need to correct the,
As amended.
as amended on line 11 on page 7 and line 10 on page 8. Any other further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. On to 7, discussion and possible action on A, accessory building request, waiver or modification for maximum number of accessory buildings. The owner is Andrew Tully. Location is West 238, South 4195 Big Bend Road. Tax key is WAKT 1386996. This is for a recommendation to the town board. And is Mr. Tully here? Good evening. Planner Rybarczyk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you tonight, the petitioner is wishing to construct a 27-foot by 40-foot addition to an existing accessory building on the property. The height will remain as the existing structure is, which is 14 foot, 6 inches. The exterior appearance of the addition will be compatible with the existing structure on site. Basically, the full accessory structure and the addition will be used for the storage of cars and personal items. Under our Town of Waukesha Code of Ordinances, anytime a building is over 600 square feet, it requires review and approval by the Town of Waukesha Plan Commission and Board. With regard to our accessory building ordinance, it complies with all the provisions as far as location. It's not closer to the principal street than the residence itself. With regard to the aggregate total floor area, the property is currently 42 acres. So the petitioner has allowed up to 27,000 square feet of accessory structure. With the addition, he's only going to be at 6,635 square feet. With regard to the maximum number of accessory structures on the property, the petitioner, when he purchased the property from Mr. Egan, there was currently at that time 6 total accessory structures that were on the property. He's actually putting an addition onto one of those existing 6 structures. So as I interpret the ordinance, it's my interpretation that the Plan Commission and Board would first need to approve a waiver modification for all of those existing structures on the property before Mr. Tully could go ahead and put the addition onto one of the existing structures. With regard to the zoning ordinance setbacks and offsets, the petitioner is compliant there. With regard to the compatibility, he's again matching what the existing structure is as far as siding and trim and roofing. So as part of our waiver modification process, there's 6 points that the Plan Commission and Board should review and make a determination. As I had gone through them, I don't feel that it's inconsistent with the general intent of our accessory building ordinance. There's plenty of acreage on site, so there shouldn't be an adverse effect on property owners and the petitioners complying with the other applicable portions of the zoning ordinance. So if the Plan Commission so chooses tonight, I did put together a recommendation for approval subject to 8 conditions. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you for any questions.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Planner Rybarczyk?
I have a question. The existing buildings that are on there, he's building an addition onto it. Weren't those buildings were approved somewhere in the past, right? So you're just, I guess I don't understand why we have to have, why there's a waiver involved.
From my interpretation of the code is because he's asking for new construction onto an existing building. It brings all of those buildings kind of into play as well as, the other structures on the site. So, I feel that we should at least put in record that we're okay with the existing 6 structures that are on the site, and then to allow him to go ahead with the addition.
Where's the 6th building? It's
See the cistern?
it's a gazebo, shed, cistern, pole barn, and then the one that's gonna get the addition, and then it's the other one is the one that's way off to the
It's way up to the.
north.
Way off to the north where the other lot is at.
And this is the one we talked about where at some point in the future, in the past, he was gonna cut that off and that structure was gonna be there and that was creating a problem for us.
That was correct. Under Mr. Egan's former kind of land division proposal, that was going to be on a separate lot of itself, which would have created a non-conforming circumstance. At this point, Mr. Tully is keeping them together as the 42 acres.
So everything's copacetic. I'm going to make a motion we approve, subject to all our conditions.
Further discussion, Supervisor Fisher? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were reaching for your microphone. Any questions for Mr. Tully? We've got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Now, that was for a waiver and modification. Do we now also need to approve the structure? And so then we need also a motion for the approval of the structure.
Correct.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Well, for Mr. Fisher, was that motion subject to the conditions in the report? You just said we don't change the conditions. You made a motion, right?
Yeah,
The
septic's
motion
already
approved.
there.
No, but are they all the other conditions incorporated there? And nobody said that I heard maybe.
Well, that's what I meant by all the conditions that we require.
On to B, accessory building, owner is Robert T. Petitioner is Steve at Red Leaf Building Company. Location is South 46 West 23667 Whispering Hills Court. Familiar address to me. Tax key is WAKT 1387009. And is Mr. Gortekti here?
I'm right here.
Hi there.
Yeah,
Gorecki?
Yeah,
My apologies.
no problem.
Jamie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The petitioner is wanting to construct a 29-foot by 34-foot accessory building on the subject property. The height as measured from grade to peak will be approximately 21 feet. The exterior appearance will be compatible with the new principal residence, and the building will be used for the storage of personal items. The reason that it's before you tonight is because it is over the 600 square feet. The accessory structure and the principal residence are all new construction on the property. So if you would have looked on GIS, you would have saw a vacant lot. With regard to the conditions of our accessory building ordinance, they comply with all the conditions as far as location, setbacks, size for the lot that it's on, number of accessory buildings. This will be the only one currently on it. With regard to the height, because they are matching the architecture of the principal residence as far as the roof pitch, we do have a waiver provision. It's section 13-2-11 subparent B4 that allows you to exceed the height regulation to match the existing residence, and you don't have to have any additional offset or setback. So with that, if the Plan Commission so chooses tonight, I did put together a recommendation for approval, subject to the 9 conditions. I will state that I did just talk to the property owner and his builder before the meeting to ask them if they received the letter from the county, the PSC. Apparently the county was out to their property, but because it's new construction for the house in the garage, the county said that they don't have to review it. So I will follow up with Martin Montoya tomorrow to let him know that. The builder did receive the refunded check from the county for the permit fee. So with regard to condition number 6 in the staff report. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Any questions for the planner?
Just so I'm clear then, is condition 6 then void? Is that what you're saying in this instance?
Based on what the property owner and the builder have told me tonight, that yes, that would be my recommendation, or we can leave it in there and I can work with Building Inspector Montoya tomorrow to see if we can get a letter from the county that states just what the property owner told us, that they
Do
don't
they-
need to review it.
Do you have a copy of that letter here this evening?
There was no letter. It was basically a check that came in the same amount as the permit fee back to us. So that's why it was a little confusing going, well, okay, what's this check for?
Perhaps, Jamie, we should be looking for something in writing from the county prior to issuance of a building permit. Would that be acceptable, Supervisor Fisher?
For today, that's fine, sure.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Fisher first. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And lastly, adjournment. Is there a motion? And a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Take a short 5-minute break.